Well, welcome back, folks. Today we're going to talk about a recent modification I made to my media blast cabinet. I bought this cabinet about 8 or 10 years ago. It was well used when I got it, and it's actually manufactured not too far from me geographically. I've made a number of changes to the cabinet over the years, and one of the things that I've never been real happy with on this unit is the media pickup. The media pickup originally was designed to use this siphon tube, which would fit down on the inside. You can see the taper here on the left, or I'm pointing to. This would fit down on the inside, down into the media, and it would pick up via siphon feed using compressed air to draw the media up through the end of that tube and up through the blast gun. The reason I've struggled with it is it's always been inconsistent. It surges, and I fiddled around with different things, air pressures, and tried different hoses. I even replaced the handgun itself, which is inside the cabinet, and it really never addressed my concern with inconsistency and surging. So what I did, and let me zoom in here for you, I replaced the pickup tube with that little doohickey you see there, right there, and that uses gravity, and it's made out of basically black pipe, or a common pipe that you can buy at a hardware store. That happens to be 1 1/4 inch. You can buy it in different sizes. I didn't design this or create the design. It's all over on the internet, YouTube. There's multiple videos on making one of these units, and I just used one of those designs. They're all very similar, to fabricate my own out of this black pipe. The only thing I really had to make is this bracket. You can see here, this black bracket. I had to make a V-shaped bracket that will fits like that up on each side of the tank, the media bin. So I had to fabricate that out of some sheet metal I had around my shop, and then I bolted it with 4 bolts on both sides, because there's a fair amount of weight. The media in there comes up something like this, where my finger is across. There's a fair amount of weight in there, and I didn't want that flexing. I wanted a good seal at the bottom here. And the whole idea behind this is you can allow gravity to feed into the vertical black pipe, and then you have an air bleed screw right there. You can see that I had to drill and tap for that air bleed screw, so that you can adjust that bolt that's on the top there in and out to control the amount of media, or the flow. And then I just made an adapter here in the end. Again, standard hardware store items. Little pipe clamp and a piece of new hose that runs up into the side of the tank, and I'll show you that here in a moment. To change the media, you just screw out that square plug on the bottom, and the media drops right out. And I've used this now several times. I completed it a couple of weeks ago, and I've used it several times since, and it's really worked quite well. I'm quite pleased with the way it's worked out for me. Let's scooch around to the left side, and I'll show you how I fed that pickup tube right there that ties into the T up into the cabinet. You can see right there, I had to cut a hole in the left side of the cabinet bin, and just used a rubber grommet I bought at a hardware store, sized to the outside of that hose. That's, I believe, 3/4 inch outside diameter, around 18 millimeters or so, and then just fish the tube up into the cabinet. It goes up to the inside and connects to the handgun on the inside of the cabinet. You can get another perspective of it there. The hardware that you see there with a gauge right here, that's where the air supply connects to feed the handgun. I've got a water collector right there before it goes into the tank. And that's just to make sure I'm using nice dry air coming out of my compressor. A little gauge right there to allow me to control the pressure coming in. I usually run this at around 40 psi, pounds per square inch. It seems to work pretty good. 40. There's times I've bumped it to 60 if I'm using a heavier, physically heavier media than glass beads, which is what I commonly use, but usually 40-ish plus is what I'll run that gauge at. And you can see a little bit different perspective, I think, here of what that looks like there. It wasn't really hard to fabricate. The biggest investment of time I had was making that bracket, that V-shaped bracket right here that straddles that cabinet, and then I sealed it with silicone so that it didn't leak any medium. Probably have invested in this all together from start to finish, maybe 4 to 5 hours, including fabrication, drilling, and all that kind of thing. But it's worked out really well, and I'm happy with it. That's going to be it for this video today, folks. Any thoughts, questions, issues, drop me a note. Otherwise, as usual, thanks for watching.